Okay. So first of all, good evening, all of you. So let's just do a quick recap what we discussed yesterday. So yesterday we discussed about HTML tags, right? So HTML tags, what type of tags we discussed? We discussed about heading tags. We discussed underline. We discussed italic, bold, and we discussed about nested tags. We discussed about BR tag. So we discussed about image tag and all, right? So today we'll discuss about CSS. Okay, we'll discuss about CSS, and we'll discuss about like uh, how we can add CSS to our HTML, and how many ways we can add CSS to HTML, which way is effective, so what is use of different ways. So this type of things we'll discuss. Okay, and HTML is not completely covered. Okay, so HTML is not completely covered. I just gave a brief idea of what is HTML and all, so I just gave a brief idea. Okay, remaining things and all, like whatever is more important remaining things, so we'll cover when we go to the project. Okay, so I'm just giving a brief idea on what is HTML, CSS, how can you include CSS and HTML, like. So this one I'm giving a brief idea. Okay, I'm not going in depth, so we'll go in depth when we are doing project. Okay. Okay, hope you are following me. So let me share my screen first. So hope my screen is sharing. Can anyone confirm whether my screen and voice is okay? Can anyone confirm in chat or turning on mic?
Visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Eva. So let's open our project. So let's open what we did till now. Let's open that. So where is it? Where is it? Where is my web designing project? Did I delete it? Here it is. So sorry. So I'm not able to see because of the wallpaper and all. So it got mixed in the wallpapers things. Okay. So cool. Okay, perfect. So this is what we wrote the code, right? So we created one hello world.html, and so we discussed about some tags, how we can include image and all, like heading tags, beer tags, some stuff we discussed, right? So let's remove all this code. So let's come back to h1. Let's write one h1 tag. Okay, let's write one h1 tag. I'm writing here is Simuleduco Solutions. So let's see the output. So how can we see the output? So we need to open that file using, just select the file, right click, open with Google Chrome. Okay, so we don't need this, we'll just close it. Okay, so this is how uh, our website like looks, our HTML page looks, right? So this is how our HTML page looks, because we write a h1, so which is a heading. And now what I'm going to do is, so I need to style this. Okay, see, when you observe this website, wait, let me open this in this Chrome. We don't need two different tools actually, so we'll do here. Okay, so this is what our website is. Okay, so let me open one website, like let me open simuleduco.com. See, if you observe this heading, so welcome to simuleduco.com solutions, so it is in blue color, right? So if you observe it, it is in blue color, it is not in a black color. So by default text color will be black. Okay, by default text color will be black, but when you observe this, it is in blue color. Okay, but in some other website, so if we observe some other website, so here it is like, this is also different blue color, and here it is green color is mixing, here it is sky blue. mm, right? So here it is like different like purple things like that, right? So like different colors are there for text. So how can we do the same? So based on our website, like based on our website requirements, we need to use different colors, right? So website can't be with single black color. So even if you do a website in single black color, so it won't be that much attractive, so no one will consider it as a website. So what we need to do, so based on our requirements, based on our primary colors, we need to do some styles, right? We need to make our font or image, whatever it is, we need to make it attractive using different colors, using primary colors of our website, right? So we need to use colors, and we need to use different sizes, right? We need to use different sizes, we need to use different colors, we need to do so many stuff and all, right? Do so many styling stuff and all to look website, to look website more creative and more stylish. We need to do styles, right? Then how we can do these styles? So it's everything is fine. You told we need to do styles to make a website creative. Then only like people will stay in the website and check the things out. That is completely fine. Then how can we do the styles? So that's where CSS comes into picture. Okay, CSS is nothing but cascading style sheets. Okay, the full form of CSS is cascading style sheets. And I think I forgot to tell you the full form of HTML. Okay, nobody asked it. I thought somebody will ask, sir, what is the full form of HTML? But nobody asked. Maybe you know that. But for the people who don't know, I'm telling
Hypertext
you now.
markup language.
Yeah, very good. So HTML is hypertext markup language. Okay, so I'm just telling you, if anybody who don't know about the full form of HTML, it is hypertext markup language. Okay, in the same way, CSS means cascading style sheets. So in the name itself, it is the right style sheets. In the name itself, it is mentioning. So we are using CSS for styling purpose. Okay, in the name itself, it is there. You don't need to strain your brains. Okay, so in the name itself, it is there. CSS means cascading style sheets. Okay, so what is the current version? I told you that we are using in HTML, HTML5, right? So current version we are using is HTML5. So in the same way, CSS will also have the versions. Of course, CSS will have versions because it is introduced in 2000s and now it is 2024. So in the past few years, it should have developed somewhat. It should have developed a little bit at least. So CSS will have versions, right? CSS 1, 2, something, it will have versions. So the latest version of HTML is HTML5. In the same way, the latest version of CSS is CSS3. Okay, the latest version of CSS is CSS3. Remember these things. Okay, CSS means cascading style sheets. Okay, in the name itself, it means that it is used for styling purpose. What comes under styling? So font color, font style, what are the look and all colors, like sizes of text and all, everything comes under the styling. Okay, so this defines the this defines your creativity, how you are doing your website with the CSS, how you are dealing the things with the CSS. So how good looking your website is. So everything depends on CSS. In CSS what you are writing. Okay, so you have to be a little bit good in CSS when you are dealing with websites which needs more creativity. Okay, which needs like when you want to build some stylish websites, CSS is the most important thing that you need to consider. Okay, so the latest version of CSS is CSS3. Okay, so HTML, that is fine completely. CSS3 is very good. Latest version of CSS is CSS3. But how can we write CSS in our web page? See, for HTML, we created a hello-world.html. With .html extension, we created one file, and there we wrote HTML code. HTML is a tag-based language, so we did like starting tag, ending tag, and all. That's completely fine. How can we write CSS in HTML? Or we should write outside HTML, or should we write outside HTML, or should we write somewhere else? So where we need to write CSS? So CSS can be written in three ways. So note these three things. Note the things that I am going to tell you now. Okay, it's very important if you are attending for a web developer interview. So mostly this question will be asked. So how many ways CSS can be written? So first one is inline CSS. Second one is internal CSS, and third one is external CSS. Okay, so I'm repeating it again. It's most important thing that you need to know. So first one is CSS can be written in three ways in our HTML web page. First one is inline CSS, second one is internal CSS, and third one is external CSS. Okay, okay, following me? Hope for everyone is following me, right? Everyone is following me, right? Yeah, okay, very good. So we can write CSS in three ways. That is completely fine. So how can we write? Okay, so let's go one by one. Okay, first we'll discuss about inline CSS, then we'll discuss about internal CSS, then we'll discuss about external CSS. Okay, so first one is inline CSS. So the name itself suggests that inline. That means we will write our CSS code inside the line. Okay, so here line means nothing but a tag. Okay, here line is nothing but a tag. Which tag? What tag we need to write? We should we write in the starting tag, or should we write in ending tag, or should we write in middle of the middle, like in the nearby content? So we have to write inside the starting tag. Okay, so we have to write that inside the starting tag. Inside the starting tag we need to write. Okay, so remember I told you attributes, right? So attributes should be written inside the starting tag with a space. We have to write this attributes and all. Remember I told you yesterday, day before yesterday, we discussed about this attributes thing. So here char set is attribute of this meta tag, name is attribute of meta tag. Okay, like that we have attributes for image tag. Yesterday we discussed, right? Source is one attribute, alt is one attribute, width is one attribute, height is one attribute. So that features that I told you, right? Attributes means nothing but additional capabilities of particular tag. Okay, so additional capabilities of particular tag. So like that, every tag in HTML will have an attribute called style attribute. Okay, so I told you, right, everything will be in simple English terms. So for applying styles, what we need to do, we need to apply style attribute. That where we need to apply in inline CSS, we need to apply the style attribute inside the tag. So attributes always it will be, remember this thing, attributes always will be in starting tag. Okay, so attributes won't be in ending tag, it won't come in ending tag. So attributes always it will be in starting tag only. Okay, for writing inline CSS we will use one attribute called style. So this style attribute will be there for every tag, whatever tag in HTML you can put style and you can write the styles. So how can we write? So remember how we'll write attribute. So we'll just go to the starting tag space, we'll write the attribute name, style style, then we'll put equal to, and inside the double quotes we will write the attribute value. So this syntax I told you yesterday, right? Attribute name equal to attribute, in double quote we'll write attribute value. Okay, style attribute is there, the using that we can write a styles and all. But what we need to put inside the tag, sorry, inside that attribute. So in attribute value what we need to put, so here we need to write styles. Okay, we need to write styles. So suppose uh, I'm just going to tell you some things. Okay, like don't get confused. Suppose if I want to apply font size, so I have to write font hyphen size, then I have to put colon and I have to give value, some value like 20 pixels or something like that. So this is called property, CSS property, and this is called property value. Okay, so this is property and this is property value. So in CSS we have to give property value, like what is that color, font size, or background color. So these are called properties. Okay, so we have to give property, then we have to give value, like it's 20 pixels or red color or blue color, like that we have to give the value of that property. So here I am using the font size property. Font size maybe like after hearing that word, you should have got an idea what is mean by font size. So what is mean by font size? It's like size of a text, right? So let's see what will happen. So I write a style equal to this attribute, so just forget about this attribute. So what will be there inside? So property name and property value. So we have so many properties in CSS, so we'll discuss one by one when it is time. Okay, so now I'm just, for example, for explaining you the inline CSS, I'm writing one attribute. Okay, so remember the font size. Okay, font size 20 pixels. So let's see what happened. Remember I told you, right, yesterday, whatever measurements we used to mostly give in pixels. So I gave here 20 pixels. So let's see the output. So see, did you see this text got like reduced? That means we gave less pixels. Suppose if we give 50 pixels, suppose if we give 50 pixels, you can see that it become little big, right? Suppose if we give 100 pixels, see, so like this we can apply styles for a particular tag. Okay, like this we can apply styles for a particular tag. This is called inline css. What is inline css? The name itself is suggesting, right? So don't get confused and you don't need to remember the definition and all. The name itself suggesting it. Inline means inside the line. We'll write the style inside the line. Here line is nothing but a tag. Okay, so we'll write the styles inside the tag using a style attribute with the properties and values. Okay, suppose if I want to apply one more style, suppose if I want to apply one more style, so what I need to do? Should I put another style equal to and then apply here? No, you don't need to do like if you want to apply 10 styles, you don't need to put 10 times style attributes. Okay, you can just remove it. You can just put semicolon after this, like here the statement got ended like that. You can put semicolon, then you can apply color. Okay, color, suppose if I apply blue. Okay, now if you see this, see, blue color came. So blue color came for our text. So like this we can apply multiple styles by putting semicolon at the end. Okay, and did you observe the spelling of color? So what is the normal general spelling of color? What is the general spelling of color? You don't know spelling of color? Yeah, COLOUR, right? So no, Ashwini, like COLOR is okay, but general spelling of color is COLOUR. But when it comes to web designing, the spelling of color is COLOR. Okay, it's not COLOUR. If you are a web designer, if you are a web developer, if someone comes and asks you, tell me the spelling of color, don't tell COLOUR. Okay, it is COLOR. In web designing terminology, it is COLOR. Okay, remember this important thing. Don't write COLOUR blue. Okay, it won't apply. Okay, you have to write COLOR. Okay, this is spelling of color. You have to write COLOR. Okay, so whatever your background color also, background hyphen COLOR. It's not a COLOUR. Okay, remember this. So I applied font size 100 pixels, then color blue. Okay, now output came as like font size 100 pixels applied, then blue color came. Okay, this is how we write internal CSS. Suppose if there is another tag, suppose there is one another tag I wrote, and here I design. So now this is h1 tag and this is also h1 tag. So I applied styles for this, right? I applied styles for this tag. I applied inline styles for this tag. So will this, both are same tags, right? So will the same styles apply for this tag also? This both are same, both are h1 only. So I wrote style tag inside here. So will that styles apply for this also? Will that styles apply for this h1 also? Because both are same tags now. So is it possible? Like will the styles of that top h1 will apply for the bottom h1 also because of the same tags? Anyone? Okay, Varsha, no sir, very good. Any other answers I can expect? Any other answers? So okay, so we'll see the output first. Okay, we'll see the output. Let me close these two websites. Did you see? That means whatever I wrote for this tag, whatever inline says I wrote for this line is not getting applicable for the next line, even if it is the same tags. So by this we can conclude that CSS, inline CSS will be applied for that particular tag where we wrote the CSS. Okay, inline CSS will be applied for a particular tag where we wrote that CSS. So it won't apply for other tags which is like same. Okay, here we applied styles for this h1. It doesn't mean that just apply the same styles for another h1. Okay, here you can apply for another one, like you here you can apply color. Suppose if you apply red, So just go and see the output. So it is changing to red. That means in inline css in inline css wherever in you wrote the css, like whatever tag it is, that styles will apply only for that particular tag. Okay, that styles will apply only for that particular tag. It won't apply for all other tags. Even if it is the same tag, that won't apply for other tags. It is inline css. That means it will apply for only particular line. So the name itself will have everything. Inline css. That means we will write css inside the line, and that css will be applied for that particular line only. Okay, so hope you are good with inline css. Hope you got what is inline css and all. You got, right? You got the inline css and all. You didn't get? Only Ashwini got. What about others? Ashwini, Vasha, only two members. So what about others? Like, are you not listening or what? If you have any doubts, like if you have any doubts, if you don't understand, just let me know. Okay. If you have any doubts, let me know. So this is inline css. That means we'll write a style. We'll write this css styles inside the line. Here line is nothing but a tag. Okay. So we'll write the styles and all everything inside a tag. Okay. That is inline css. Okay. This is inline css. Now let's go to internal css. Okay. So let me remove this inline css. Okay, so internal css, here also the name itself referring everything. Internal css means we will write our css internally in the document itself, like in the html itself we will write the css. Okay, so the same thing we are doing in inline also, right? So we are writing in the same in the document itself. Then what is the difference between inline and internal? So in inline css we are writing css inside the starting tag, right? But when it comes to internal css, we are not writing the styles inside the tag. Then where we are going to write? So we are going to write our css in style tag. Okay, in html I told, right, like h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6, image tag, br tag, like that we have another tag called style tag. Okay, so we can put the style tag anywhere. Okay, you can put anywhere in the document. So like if it is good to have after head. Okay, so just write the style tag. Okay, so this is a style tag. We have a style tag in html, so we can use that style tag and write the css. That type of css is called internal css. If we write the style inside the line, then it is called inline css. If we write you in the inside the tag, then it is called internal css. Okay, so okay, fine. So in inline css we use the style attribute and we kept the style equal to, then inside that we wrote a values like a property and value. So how we are going to write here inside the tag, how we are going to write? So here syntax will be little bit different. Okay, here syntax will be little bit different. So first we need to write the tag name where we want to apply the styles. Okay, so first we need to write the tag name where we want to apply the styles. Okay, so I want to apply styles for h1, right? So I want to apply styles for h1, so I'll put h1. Then what we need to do? So I want to apply styles for h1, so I wrote a h1. Then you have to open the flower braces. Okay, so you have to open the flower braces like function for if you are writing a function. So you will open the flower braces, right? So what that indicates, it indicates the starting of the function and ending of the function, right? So like the in the same way here also, starting flower base will indicate that css started here for this particular tag, and ending flower base refers like it tells that css ended here. Okay, like that. So inside the flower bases we need to write styles. So what we need to write? So we wrote the same thing in line, right? Same thing we can write here. First, property. Suppose if I want to apply font size, so the property name is font size. Font hyphen size equal colon. Then we have to put colon, and we have to specify the value. I am specifying the value 100 pixels. Okay, 100 pixels, then ending with semicolon. And if you want to apply color also, just click on enter, come to second line, then write a color. Suppose I am applying a blue. Okay, so this is how you write in internal css. You will put a tag name, then you will start the flower bases, which indicates that css started here, and you will put a ending flower base, which indicates that css ended here. Okay, so this is what internal css, which will apply for a h1 tag. Okay, now let's see the output, what is happening here. Did you see this magic? It applied for a both tags, but when we are writing inline css, we have to write separate, right? Suppose if I need, I have two h1s. So if I need both same styles, if I need same styles, then if I am using inline css, then I have to write in this h1 tag also, and this in h1 tag also, I have to write the same things, right? Which is a duplication of code, which is not recommended. So there we can use internal css, which helps us to write a common styles based on a tag. Okay, and some other things also there, like class id things that I will discuss later. But here we can write styles, we can write similar styles for a same tags, right? Suppose if I apply uh, background color, if I apply background color red. Okay, see, so I mean you are applying for h1 tag. So if there is another h1 tag, like if there is another h1 tag also, like here, what we'll do, I'll put hello world. Okay, hello world. See, so if you write styles for h1 internal css, so all the h1s in that document will get affected by these styles. Okay, so all the h1s in the document will get affected by the styles. But when it is come to inline css, if we need the same styles, we need to copy and paste. For each h1 tag, inside that h1 tag we need to write a styles, right? So that one we can overcome here. Okay, so that one we can overcome here, that multiple like same cell for multiple tags, we have to write code duplication, right? That one we can avoid using our internal css. Okay, so this is how we write internal css in our document. Inside the style tag, we'll put a tag name, then we'll start flower bases, and inside that we'll write a property name colon property value, and we'll end with semicolon. Okay, semicolon is very important, because if we remove the semicolon, so you can see this red color symbols. That means our browser won't understand where this property ended. Okay, so semicolon is very important. Okay, semicolon is very important. After putting the property value, just make sure that it is ended with semicolon, then and click on enter and start the new right. If you need multiple properties, then start the new property. Okay, so here I need font size applied, then semicolon, then enter color blue I need, then I applied blue, then enter background color red. Okay, so like that you can apply multiple styles. So there are so many properties in css that we will discuss when we are going to project in depth. Okay, so this is what internal css is. Okay, so what we do in inline css, we'll write the css inside the tag, starting tag, using a style attribute. So what we do in internal css, we'll write a starting tag and ending tag, like style, we have a style tag, and inside that style tag we'll put the tag name, and we'll write styles for that particular tag. Okay, so hope you are good with internal css also. So internal css, in inline series we cannot apply the multicolors. I didn't get you, Vasha. So so I hope you are good with internal css. So you got the internal css, right? So internal css concept, we'll put the style tag, then we'll put tag name flower bases, and inside that we'll write the styles. So I'm not getting any replies. Guys, are you there, or you slept? Weekend effect is started. Weekend effect started. Oh, now you are replying after I asked for a question. Weekend effect started. You are replying yes, sir. Okay, fine, fine. So what about others? What about others? So many people are like almost 14, 15 people are there, right? What about others? Only three, two or three people are replying. Okay, that is fine. So this is inline, sorry, internal css. Okay, so where we write our code inside the document using a style tag. And next one is external css. So the name itself is suggesting external css means we will fetch the styles from external css, means externally so that style won't be in our html document, so we will fetch it externally. Okay, we'll fetch it externally, but how? So external css is nothing but we will create one css file, we will write styles there, then we will link our html and css to get that styles effect here. Okay, okay, just remember this external css is nothing but we'll write our styles in css file, then we will link our html and css file so that styles will get affected here. Okay, so how can we do that? Okay, in external css let's create one file. Okay, so file name will be styles dot, so for html extension is dot html, so for css extension is dot css. Okay, so dot css. Now this is a css file. Okay, now what we need to write here, the same thing we wrote here inside the style tag, right? Same thing we can write here. Okay, same thing, there is no change in syntax, so same thing we can write here, and we can remove it here. Okay, so one more thing you can observe that here there is no style tag. Why we are not keeping style tag when you are writing css externally? So when we are writing css in separate file, why we are not using style tag? Because why we are writing style tag in html when we are writing internal css? Because that's a html page, it is a file is in html extension, so browser should understand which is css. So that's why we are telling browser that from here css is starting, from here css is ending using a style tag. But here the file is already a css file, so you don't need to tell browser that style is starting here, style is ending here. You don't need to tell the browser, right? So browser will automatically understand based on the css extension. That's why we don't need that style tag here, we can directly write the code what we want here. Okay, we can directly write the css. Okay, so let's see the output. What happened here? So I write the css, right? So here h1 tags are there, h1 tags are there, and here style for h1 I wrote the styles. So what is happening then, why it is not affecting? So the reason is in your html h1 tags are there, in your css file h1 styles are there for h1, but where is the link between your html and css? There should be link, right? So without linking, how can html fetch the styles from css? Without linking, how css will give styles to html? So we should link, right? So how we are going to link? So that is using link tag. Okay, so I told you, right, it's a normal terminology. So we are going to link our files using link tag. Okay, so where we are going to write this link tag? So remember, I told you when we are discussing about head tag, so head tag contains information about your website, so it contains also the links, it also contains the file links where it needs resources, like that I told. Hope you remember that thing. Okay, so we are going to write all the links needed for our website in head tag. Okay, in head tag after the title we used to write. Okay, we are going to write after the title. So we are going to link our css file using a link tag in head tag after the title. Okay, so don't get confused here. So we are going to use all the links whatever we need. So all the links we are going to write in head tag only, we have to write in head tag. Okay, so here, so first we need to write link tag. Okay, then we'll close the link tag. So here we'll have attributes. Okay, so you don't need to remember that attributes, because so if you just type link colon css, so if you type like this you will get auto suggestion in VS Code, and if you click that, so automatically the code will come here. So like two attributes will come, relation and href. So these two are the important attributes. So rel means relation, like what type of file you are linking. So we are linking style sheet file, right? So we are linking style sheet file. I told you, right, like CSS means cascading style sheet. So we are linking style sheet file. So our relation will be style sheet. Href nothing but hyper reference. Okay, hyper reference link, that is nothing but a source. Okay, from where it needs to fetch the CSS. Remember in image tag we are using source attribute, right? We are using source attribute in image tag. In the same way, here we are using href, like hyper reference link, from where we need to fetch the CSS. So it is, we have to give our file path. Okay, so the files are in same folder, so giving file name is enough. So let's, already style.css is there, so let's run it. Okay, what is happening, why it is not working? So we already give style.css, right? So we already wrote a link, relation is also there, href is also there. What is happening here? What is the mistake here? Can anyone tell what is the mistake here? Mistake is with the file name. See, here it is style.css, but our file name is styles.css. Okay, so you are trying to import a file which is not existed, but it should show some error, right? I remember I told you there is no error handling in HTML. That's why it won't show any error. So you have to be very careful when writing the names and all, when writing the tags, capital letters, small letters, you have to be very careful. Okay, so when here you have to give the correct file name. Okay, so style.css, styles.css. Now if we refresh, you can see the styles. Okay, how is it happening? So because you are linking our CSS file in the HTML file, here using a link tag you are linking the external CSS file. So whatever styles you wrote here will get imported here. Okay, so whatever styles you wrote in style.css will get imported in our HTML file. Okay guys, following me? Following me? Okay, very good.
Sir,
Yeah, very good. So this is how we link our external CSS file. Okay, this is how we link our external CSS file to our hello, like our HTML file. Okay, okay, fine. We have three types of CSS: inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. So which one we need to use? Okay, which one we need to use? So which is better, inline CSS is better, or internal CSS is better, or external CSS is better? So which one is preferable, which one should we use? So the answer is better to use external CSS. Okay, it is no crime to use internal CSS or inline CSS, but it's better to use external CSS. Why it's better to use external CSS? Because, so if you write internal CSS, if it is a small application, then no problem, you're like you will have limited styles. But when you are working with a real-time project, so your styles will be very huge, right? Your styles will be very huge, like it will be like 200 lines, 300 lines of styles. So if 200 lines or 300 lines of styles will come, if come here, then our HTML code will be somewhere in the down. It will be very clumsy, right? So if you maintain your CSS in a separate file, then linking it in a single line, then it will be very good to look, even for better readability will be there, and you won't get confused between CSS and HTML. So CSS will be in separate file and HTML will be in separate file. Okay, so it's always better to use external CSS. Okay, you can use the internal CSS if you don't have that much styles, and you can use inline CSS also. There is no crime in that. You can use whatever based on your preference, but I suggest you to use external CSS so that there won't be any code clumsy, and it will be a better readability will be there. Okay, hope you got my point. Okay, so now I got a doubt. So let me write here. I am putting one style tag. Okay, so I'm writing here h1 tag, opening flower base, and applying color as, so already blue, right? So I'll apply color as red. Okay, so I'll remove this font size and background color for now. Okay, so here in the external CSS, I wrote the color blue. Okay, in the I linked that file, and again I wrote internal css. And one more thing, you can write both. Okay, you can use both. You can write external css, you can use internal css, and you can use inline also. You can use three types. Okay, it will work. Okay, it won't give any error. Now my doubt is, so I applied blue color here in external css, and I linked it. Okay, and now again in a internal css I wrote a color, h1 color as red. So which one will come now? So which one will come? So here in the style.css, h1 color is blue. Here in the internal css, h1 color is red. So which one will come in the output? Okay, can you guess? So Ashwini Reddy blue, very good. Any other guesses? So which one will come? Only Ashwini Reddy answered. So okay, that's fine. Varsha is telling red. So let's see which one will come. Okay, let's see which one will come. So here red is there and blue is there. Let's see. See, red is coming. That means here external css is overwriting by the internal css. That means internal css will have more priority than external css. Okay, because first these styles are loading, then again it comes to internal css, then it is that h1 type styles, right, that are getting overwritten by this internal css. Okay, so internal css will have more priority than external css. Okay, and so what if I put this style tag here? So here first this style tag will load, then only this one will load, right? First this style tag will load, then this external css will load. Okay, so first the red color is loading, and then blue color is loading. So which one will come, red or blue? Guess now. So this type of experiments I told you, right? This type of experiments you have to do. Tell me now, which one will come, red or blue? So I just move the internal css to the top of the document. Now tell me which one will come, red or blue? Vasha is telling it blue will come. Any other answers? So Vasha is telling blue will come. Any other answers you have? Okay, Ashwin is telling red will come. Let's see what will come. So blue came. That means the styles from a external CSS is coming. What is this magic? What is this going here? That means order of the styles is also matters. If you keep these styles, because our document is reading by from top to bottom, right? So first this internal CSS will get red, then after that it will come to head tag, then here external css is loading, then it is getting overwritten to the blue color, then it is reading the remaining content. So order of the cell where you are writing your internal css matters. Okay, it is not like internal css is have more priority than external css. Of course it is when you follow this so basically this is a structure, like everyone write css after the head only. So if you follow this uh, thing, then of that thing like internal css have more priority than external css is true. But if you keep this style tag above the head, then external css will have priority, because these styles will load after the internal css, so that whatever you write the styles inside the external css will get overwrite. Okay, so it will get overwritten. Okay, that is fine. Now if I write something here in the internal css for this particular thing, I am applying color to green. Okay, so let's focus only on this Simuleduco Solutions. We'll remove these things. Okay, so now these particular h1 have a external css, internal css, and inline css. So which one will come? Which one will come now? Which one will come now? Come on, tell me which one will come now. So that particular H1 have external CSS, internal CSS, and inline CSS. Which one you will think? So external CSS is blue, internal CSS is red, and inline CSS is green. So which one will come? Inline CSS will perform. Okay, Vasha is telling inline CSS will perform. What about others? So Ashwin Reddy is telling green, so that means inline CSS. Okay, so let's see the output. See here, that means inline CSS is performing. So what is happening here? First, this style.css is getting load. So H1 is setting to blue. Then internal CSS is triggering. Then CSS is setting, H1 is color setting to red. Then when it come to here, inline CSS is triggering and color is setting to green. So at last, Simuleduco Solutions is set to green. Okay, this is what happening here, guys. So when you write external CSS, internal CSS, and inline CSS will have more priority, and internal CSS will have priority based on the position it is on above head or below head, and external CSS will have last priority. Okay, so this is how CSS will be written in HTML. Okay, so we'll have so many attributes. We have font size, color, we have so many attributes. So these are only two three attributes I told you now, but more attributes we'll going to cover soon. So from Monday onwards we'll start the actual project. Okay, so I told you, right, only this workshop will be only on weekdays, Monday to Friday. Okay, so my next session will be on Monday. So Monday we'll start the actual dashboard project. So we'll learn in-depth HTML and CSS. Okay, so we are planning either portfolio or dashboard project. Okay, so we'll start both. Anyone like both will be useful for your resume. Okay, you can add in resume and all. So we'll think and we'll decide which one to whether portfolio should do portfolio or should do a dashboard. We'll do one project. Okay, we'll start one project and we'll complete that. Okay, so in that we'll go deep into like in-depth HTML and in-depth CSS. Okay, so that is it for today's session, guys. So I'll give a quick recap what we discussed. Okay, so we discussed about inline CSS, so where we write a style attribute. So where we write style attribute and write the properties, and we discussed about internal CSS where we write a style tag, and inside that we'll put a tag name, and in flower basis we'll write the properties and values. And we discussed about external CSS, which we write our CSS in a separate file, then we link to our HTML using a link tag. Okay, so when we write internal CSS and inline CSS and external CSS, so based on the position between external and internal CSS, that particular CSS will perform, but inline CSS will have a utmost priority. Okay, so this is what we discussed in today's session. So if you have any doubts, let me know, guys. Otherwise, I think we can take leave. I think so. You're all in weekend fever. So enjoy your weekend. Okay, take care, guys.